Hoshin Kanri explained how to align daily work with the company vision. In this video, I'm going to talk to you, and I'm talking to you business leaders, and I'm talking to you department heads, and I'm talking to everybody. How do we get going in the same direction? Patrick Lencioni said a quote roughly, or actually quoted a quote from somebody who was very influential in Patrick's life, that if you could get everybody in an organization rowing in the same direction, you could compete against anyone in any market at any time. And literally, I'm adding on to this, literally blow away your competition because you have a focus on quality, because you have total participation, because you literally have a focus on people, and everybody is moving in the same direction. Hoshin Kanri is a Japanese term that literally means direction management, meaning can we go in the same direction? And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to do it and literally distill like 15 years of me hitting my head against this down into one video to help you out. If you're interested in that, please stay with us. Okay, so let me tell you about a neat experience. I first experienced this reading from Patrick Lencioni and reading from Jim Collins in a book that's not talked about a lot, but it's called Beyond Entrepreneurship 2.0. Patrick Lencioni's book was called The Advantage, and it talked about how you build a leadership team, then you create clarity, then you scale that clarity, then you reinforce that clarity through human systems. So the book, The Advantage, was the first time that I saw how a leadership team can come full circle and say, this is the direction that we're wanting to go. Then I check out Jim Collins' book, Beyond Entrepreneurship 2.0, and he literally maps out this whole process for how to align the organization and create clarity on where we're going. Third book I read that Dean Reed had sent me, Lean Dean, was called Traction, and it is called Traction. And that's from Gino Wickman about the entrepreneurial operating system. Now, I don't entirely agree with the incentives that he encourages, but as a business operating system, it is very, very, very effective. Okay, and in there it talks about this vision traction organizer, which is basically your clarity document for where you want to go as a business. Now, at Oakland Construction, I was exposed to basically the company leaders around the leadership team quite a bit, and they constantly were attempting to merge their vision, and they learned it from Patrick Lencioni, to implementation in the field. And they came across a really neat book called Own the Gap. And the gap was basically, here's where you want to go, here's where you are. And what they said was, what you need to do is create a clarity, create a vision with 5 defining goals. That's Patrick Lencioni's terms, but at least those key goals, and those key goals take every department and have them do what's called catchball, back and forth. And that's actually from the Japanese, by the way. And catchball is where you're like, hey, this is where I think we need to go. The department throws the ball back, and you're basically catching back and forth the ideas. You're not shoving anything down somebody's throat. And so the leadership of the company will literally do this catchball with departments and with key influencers and, you know, the organization. And actually, if you're doing it properly, with everybody if you can, right? And everybody has kind of input. Now, the leaders have to decide, but input on where the company's going. Then you have literally your purpose, your mission, the vision of the company, your core values, but more importantly, what is our next, what Patrick Lencioni called thematic goal? Where are we going in the next 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, whatever the interval is? And what are the 5 key defining goals underneath that? Once you as a company know that for your next quarter, your next half year, your next trimester, your next year, then everybody knows, oh, we as a company are headed here. Now, the key thing was they had this on an Excel sheet where it literally had their purpose, their mission, their vision, their core values, and, you know, probably things like their key differentiators. Then it was like, here's where we're going next. Here are the 5 defining goals. Now, under those 5 defining goals, the departments in a company, or the functional groups, or what we call pods at Elevate and Lean Tact, will then create department goals that align with where the company is going. So the department's not like, oh, here's where the company's going, I'm going over here. You know, like, hey, I want to do this new software, or I want to hire 50 new people, or I want to be the best department in the entire company at the expense of others financially. It was everybody's heading in the same direction. And actually, this is where we took it at Elevate and Lean Tact. The first time we did this, it was just, this is where we're going. And people were like, oh, okay. And even without a lot more work after that, just people seeing where we were going, we accomplished our goals, interestingly enough. The next strategic plan, which we usually do in 4 months, so it's roughly a trimester, and meaning, but we kind of flex in and out depending on where the organization is. But literally, the next time we did it, we were like, okay, now each department and individual come up with goals. Didn't do much follow-up that next time, but we accomplished them phenomenally, our 5 defining goals. Then the next time it was like, okay, let's track it. And so we did our 5 defining goals and everybody had their individual goals, and then we tracked it to a percent plan complete of around 45%, which doesn't sound great, but the overall defining goals, we absolutely nailed it. Then this next strategic planning cycle, we have our thematic goal, our 5 defining goals. Everybody has their individual goals, and we're tracking them, and we're discussing them every day in the morning worker huddle. And we are on track to finish these over 80%. That means out of the 85 people in the company, we will have a hit rate for over 85 people doing one major thing, which Gino Wickman calls a rock. Most important thing, right? You remember that analogy of the vase or vase, where if you put in the sand, then the gravel, then the rocks, it spills over. But if you do the rocks first, then the gravel, then the sand, it fits, and you can even add water. The concept is rocks first. So we call these goals, these goals rocks. So we have 85 people with a rock, at least one. And this next strategic planning cycle, we will hit it over 85%. We're on track for that. That means for over 80% of 85 people, that's a lot. So we'll have anywhere between 55 and 65 major individual rocks or goals accomplished that then tie into our overall goals, which we're on track for, which ties into our next step, which ties into our overall company strategic vision. And at that company, where the authors of Own the Gap toured us, they actually have that clarity, and each individual department has their own visual huddle board with scaled communication to and from. And so this is a remarkable concept that if we embrace, literally we should be able to go around and say, where's the company heading? Oh, I know, and this is what I'm working on. And that's when we'll get everybody rowing in the same direction, and we will focus on people, process, and quality and win against our competitors who may not be focused on people, process, and quality. So I'm going to put this into a blog post and give you a copy of our clarity document and link you to the books. I think you're going to find it remarkable. On we go.